Welcome to Part 6 in Northern Perspectives review of Justin Trudeau's Top 10 Scandals.
On June the 2nd, 2023, media outlets exploded with the news that Paul Bernardo, Canada's most notorious killer, was transferred from a maximum security prison facility to a medium security prison facility. The move sparked outrage across Canada and calls for explanations. 3 days later, Marco Mendicino told reporters that he was shocked by the Correctional Service of Canada, CSC, their decision to transfer serial killer Paul Bernardo to a medium security prison.
I took the opportunity this morning to speak with Commissioner Kelly. I told her that as a former federal prosecutor and as a Canadian, that I was profoundly concerned and again shocked by this decision. She assured me that she understood. She also assured me that she was going to be reviewing the matter. And in the meantime, our thoughts do turn to the families.
But he insists his office cannot overrule it. Mendicino told reporters Monday that he spoke to CSC Commissioner Ann Kelly that morning. She promised to review the decision and report back to him in short order, Mendicino said. Pierre Poilievre told reporters that it was a terrible decision and called on the government to use whatever powers it had to reverse this ridiculous decision.
Despite his claims to the contrary, the public safety minister has the power to put out a regulation saying that a whole category of inmates are required to be in maximum security. That means inmates like multiple murderers such as Paul Bernardo. He has the ability to declare that the Paul Bernardos of the world must stay in maximum security. I'm calling on the Prime Minister to direct his public safety minister to say that all mass murderers should have to serve their entire sentences in maximum security prisons. This is a no-brainer, and the Prime Minister can do it. He's got to stop passing the buck and pretending he can't do it. Do the responsible thing, and put this monster back in a maximum security prison where he belongs.
Mr. Bernardo is still in jail. What's the problem in your view for him?
He should be in a maximum security prison. He's the worst monster in Canada, and he should be forced to stay where he is right now.
Poilievre's staff pointed to provisions in the Corrections and Correctional Release Act to argue that Mendicino could act if he wanted to. Specifically, the law stated that CSC Commissioner works under his direction. The law also allows the government to pass regulations relating to the placement and transfer of prisoners.
CBC News reports that the staff in Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino's office knew for 3 months that serial killer and rapist Paul Bernardo would be transferred from a maximum to a medium security prison, but didn't inform the minister until after it had happened.
This is how the public safety minister originally described his reaction to news serial killer Paul Bernardo had been moved.
First, the decision to transfer Paul Bernardo from a maximum security institution to a medium security institution is both shocking and incomprehensible.
CBC News has now learned that the Correctional Service of Canada did give Mendicino's office advance warning about the transfer. But staff didn't tell the minister for 3 months until a day after Bernardo was moved.
The Correctional Service of Canada said it first emailed Mendicino's office on March 2nd to inform it that Bernardo would be moved to a medium security institution. A final date for the transfer hadn't been determined at that time. The minister's office now says it did not tell Mendicino about Bernardo's transfer until May 30th, the day after the transfer happened. A spokesperson at Mendicino's office would not disclose the names of who in the office knew, and would only say multiple members of his staff were made aware. Mendicino is then hounded in question period by Conservative and NDP members about him knowing the transfer was taking place for 3 months.
This minister claimed this was all a big surprise to him. However, we learned today that his office knew in early March and was informed again in May. In other words, he did know, and what he said was false. Will he resign?
If he claims he doesn't read emails, if he claims he doesn't get briefed by staff, if he claims he doesn't get briefed by his officials, if he claims he doesn't tell the Prime Minister anything, what does he actually do here?
We just have found out that his office was aware of the transfer of Paul Bernardo out of maximum security 3 months ago, but the minister claims that he only knew about it on May 30th. If the minister can't keep his house in order, how is he going to keep the country safe?
It is a decision he could have made on March the 2nd when his office became aware that this monster was being transferred out of maximum security prison. Why, given that he has not done that and because he has misled this House, will the Prime Minister fire him?
He told the families of Paul Bernardo's victims that he had no knowledge of the transfer. He pretended that he had no idea. He re-victimized the families of the victims, and he doesn't have the trust of Canadians. His own caucus can't even look up at him. Minister, there is only one option: resign.
However, Mendicino repeatedly denies he knew, states that he has taken corrective action in his office, but refuses to disclose what was done.
Speaker, it is the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada who misleads this House when he impugns my knowledge before May 30th. I had made it absolutely clear that that was the day on which I found out. I have taken corrective steps internally with my office, an office for which I am responsible for, to this Parliament, to the Canadian public, which is why immediately upon knowing that fact that he was transferred to a medium security institution, I raised it with the Commissioner.
CBC reports that staff in the Prime Minister's office were told in March that serial killer and rapist Paul Bernardo could be transferred from a maximum security to a medium security prison.
We're following breaking news this hour after the Prime Minister's office confirms it knew about the controversial prison transfer of serial killer Paul Bernardo months before it happened. Spokesperson confirms Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wasn't told until the day the multiple murderer was moved to a medium security prison, but it is still raising questions of government competence.
PMO spokesperson Alison Murphy told CBC that a staff member was alerted by the Privy Council's office to a possible transfer and subsequently contacted Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino's office. That was the right step to take given the Public Safety Minister's responsibility for the Correctional Service of Canada, Murphy said in a media statement. Murphy also said that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was informed of the transfer on May 29th. Mendicino's office has said the minister was briefed on May 30th, the day after it happened. The news was first reported by the Globe and Mail. Pierre Poilievre and other Conservatives repeatedly call for Mendicino's resignation in question period in press conferences and in parliamentary committees. Justin Trudeau strategically avoids press conferences and avoided returning to question period since he last spoke on June 13th until over a week later on June 20th. Canadians await action on the review by Corrections Services Canada and calls for a review of the process by which families are notified of the movement of mass murderers within Canada's prison system.